Hey guys, how you going? So, a little bit late on this one. I've been working on my follow-up book. I'm on chapter 12, so we've still got probably a couple of months before I finish writing it. But anyway, a bit late on this one, and the BBC in the intervening time have had time to change their mind. So this was aired on the midnight news on the 16th of August, and by 6 a.m. On their daily news morning show, the Today programme, the tone had changed and they had reverted back to what I would consider more of a correct opinion. Firstly, I'd like to say what's happening in Afghanistan is terrible. Obviously, it's a humanitarian crisis. It's going to cause a lot of problems, and my heart goes out to everyone who's being adversely affected by this. That being said, I think a lot of people understand that this was foreseeable. But anyway.
The Afghan state has crumbled in a matter of weeks, despite 2 decades of intense support from the West. Our World Affairs editor, John Simpson, considers why a project backed at immense cost by countries, including the UK, has failed so quickly and comprehensively.
The Taliban have a fearsome reputation in Afghanistan, but as long as the Americans and their allies were on hand, most people felt safe enough. Ever since February last year, though, when President Trump's officials signed the supposed peace agreement with the Taliban's political leaders, the fear in Kabul and other towns and cities has grown. Once the foreign forces started leaving, the Taliban could make their move. The fighters on the ground paid little attention to the terms of the deal their political leaders had done. In Kabul, fear turned to outright panic, fed by reports that the Taliban had been executing soldiers who'd resisted them. 20 years of training don't seem to have had any effect. When the moment came, soldiers and police tore off their uniforms and ran for it.
I wanted to play you his opinion in totality. So, as you can see, the only person he mentions is at fault is Donald Trump, by name. So he is convinced that it's Trump's peace deal that has caused all of this. Now, this morning, as I said, they have changed their tune. They are starting. They even said Biden was incompetent, which was a breath of fresh air from the BBC. But Biden's completely MIA. I mean, he's not back until Wednesday. His press secretary's not back for 2 weeks. So I don't think we're going to be hearing anything from the Biden government until this has left the news cycle. Now, they have claimed previously that they were bound to this peace deal by Donald Trump. And it's Donald Trump's fault that they have to pull out. Well, firstly, Donald Trump's peace deal revolved around a slow drawdown of forces until September, not a complete withdrawal back in May, which is what Biden did. Now, I think that with the slow drawdown of forces, you would have still seen exactly the same thing happen. It's just it wouldn't have happened until a bit later on. The big push wouldn't have come until after the American troops had left. But in the power vacuum that Biden left by pulling everyone out, obviously they've been emboldened and done it very, very quickly. Now, Biden's saying that he's been bound by this deal that Trump made is ridiculous, because Remain in Mexico policy, one of Trump's policies, Biden revoked it. Nord Stream pipeline deal with, I think it was a Canadian oil firm, Biden revoked it. Pulling out of the Paris Climate Convention, Biden revoked it. The Iran nuclear deal, Biden is revoking it. So Biden clearly isn't bound by anything Trump did, except when it goes wrong, and then it's Trump's fault. And Biden did actually say that he blamed this all on Trump. So it's acceptable that this news editor might also think that it's all Trump's fault, when clearly it's got less than nothing to do with Trump. If Biden didn't want to pull out, he didn't have to pull out. I mean, Donald Trump tried to pull out the troops from Syria, and the American military ended up playing games and telling him they were pulling out, and they were just shifting troops around, that they were moving them from one airbase to another, and saying, well, we've taken, X number of troops out from this airbase. So the armed forces of America would disregard Trump's orders to remove troops from Syria. But in this case, not only do they just go along with what Biden says, they were some of the most vocal opponents to it. Whereas in Syria, they weren't vocal at all, they just didn't do it. So yeah, I think this characterization, although it has now been corrected by the BBC in general, is indicative of everything wrong with the BBC reporters and editors. It shows a complete misunderstanding of what's going on, and a complete ideological zealotry that it must be Donald Trump's fault. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed that. Don't forget my new book, Sophie, is out, available on Amazon and Kindle. Every single Sunday here on the channel, I release a new homesteading video going on what I've been doing around the homestead. This coming Sunday we have hopefully, if everything goes right, we have a bit of a special episode, so definitely tune in for that. I'm sure you'll enjoy it, but if you don't, no worries. Whatever you're up to, have a fantastic day, and of course I will talk to you again soon. Have a good one.